There we go.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Now we're in. You can see
Now,
your
now
screen.
we're
You're good now, right?
now we're doing stuff.
All right. Now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh,
All right. So for anybody who doesn't know Ryan, Ryan's actually done a couple posts and a few other things like that. I think I've probably known Ryan now for probably, I don't know, a year and a half at least. And
has it already been a year and a half?
probably, man, I don't know. It may even be more than that. But so Ryan actually, does some Hollywood work. He does some commercial work, some movie work. Dude, I mean, dude, what don't you? You're a stuntman. You work out. You drive race cars. You do commercials for cars. Is the driver there? I mean, honestly, to me, that's like living the dream. You get paid to drive cars and do cool stuff. So, I mean, that really, nothing wrong with that.
Dude, it's fun. I'll tell you that much. It's weird right now though, man. We're all in quarantine, not doing anything.
That's what I can imagine. There's so many projects. Like I have a shopping cart on probably just about every parts website, like Summit. I got about 3-4 different things just sitting in the cart. I got a bunch of bike parts with JP Cycles. Just want to sit there, and I'm like, do I really want to do this right now? No, I shouldn't.
Same boat, man. I mean, I even came home to my parents just because I was like, I got nothing to do in LA. I'm just sitting there doing nothing and not paying for any food here, which that's always a plus,
That's the benefits of being at home. No, can't complain about that one. Can't complain about that one at all.
Grilling and making steaks and doing the thing,
Hey, that's it right there, man. Quarantine life. Chicken, eggs, a little bit of steak, just the essentials, just the essentials.
That and tequila.
Well, that's what I said. Now that I actually got some company on our video chat here, I need to drink myself because after all, it is Friday.
It is Friday.
It is Friday, and this is my drink of choice here for tonight. Anybody who has never had the Patron Cafe tequila coffee, got to give her a shot there.
Tequila coffee.
Tequila coffee. It's
When am I drifting again? Oh, that's a real good question. Whenever the quarantine's lifted.
Cheers, my friend. Everybody else watching.
Cheers.
Happy Friday.
I got in trouble this weekend, dude, for taking my drift car out on the streets. That was a fun one.
Dude, I can only imagine. So now that I actually got you on video, and obviously people can ask questions. So one thing that always I was curious of is, so obviously, I mean, you're a competitive drift racer. You're into racing. Like, how is that something that you got into? Like, how do you even start that? Like, I love to drive, but I know my skills are like that of like a Grand Theft Auto 5 driver. Like, I'm okay, but then, I can also hit a pole.
So I started racing go-karts actually at 8 years old. So I won a bunch of championships around the country, and I raced till I was 18. And then I was drifting in the streets with one of my best friends in high school, and got in a ton of trouble like usual. Took it to the track, picked up my pro license, competed here in America in Formula Drift, and then competed overseas in Japan. And then right after that, I got into stunts. Having the pro license is what really, really helped out.
Makes sense. So, like, what's the steps? I mean, how did all that start? Because that's what I read a lot of these, IndyCar drivers, NASCAR drivers. A lot of them get started in the karting at a pretty early age. And so for you, you said that obviously it was a young age also. But to, like, make that step to go from, just the dude who's driving to get that pro license, like, what's that take?
So it was either we did some sort of roundy rounds or it was me and my pops, and we decided, it was either some sort of roundy round racing or try to do something else because there wasn't really any other way we could go with racing go-karts. And I just happened to be drifting already as it was. And you compete in what's called Pro-Am. There's a guy, I competed in the Golden Gate Drift Pro-Am series. That's the one I got my Pro 2 license in. And then I got my license from that. Yep, Golden Gate Drift. And then I went from there to going overseas because I had my pro license here so I could race as well overseas in Japan. That gave me that license to compete in the series that I competed over there, which was King of the Nations. And then I competed in that in Japan, which was an awesome experience. And then pursued the stunt route afterwards.
Right on. So even like when you got started, was your car, was it yours? I mean, did you build it and you drove it, or so everything was pretty much all you? So you turn wrenches too?
Yeah. So me and my pops built it in the garage from the ground up. So I went to LA. I actually picked up the car in LA, and I live in Sacramento. Well, I lived in Sacramento at the time, which is 7 hours away. So I picked up the car in LA, and it was pretty much stock, and trailered it all the way home, and then I started wrenching on it from there, going from basically the ground up, full suspension and all that.
God, I can only imagine. I mean, I've had some fun projects I wanted to do, and I mean, half of them I never finished. I think probably the one that I was the most excited about it, I never actually totally completed, and I ended up selling it before I finished. Was I picked up a '88 MK3 Supra. Bought it from a guy on Craigslist. Didn't run. Did nothing. And I mean, it's like we're in the parking lot. I can already tell what's wrong with it. It's just basic, Needs a tune up, a little bit of fresh, needs a new battery for sure. That's the whole reason nothing started. Get it home. I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to build like just a stupid car, and I'm gonna pull this 7M out, and I want to put an LS1 with a Pro Charger.
Yeah.
And needless to say, that was the plan, and just never came to fruition. But I still think about it because I'm like, I still kind of want to do that because it's just stupid and crazy. But at the same time, it would be so much fun.
Yeah. So I have a Nissan 240SX with a fully built LSX and a 200 shot of nitrous is what I have in it, and it gets down.
That's what I would imagine. I mean, something you're probably putting down probably 620, 680 horsepower. Well, 200 shot's gonna totally boost that up. So
yeah, it was 550 at the wheels, and with the nitrous it was 750, 800.
That's too much fun.
Unbelievable in a little car like that.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, your curb weight's probably 2,500 pounds, maybe less.
I remember it weighing, because we have to weigh it in. And I had to be sitting in it, so I remember it weighed with me in it. It was 3,050 pounds of me sitting in the car. Yeah.
Makes sense. That's still power to weight, man. That's all drifting. That's one of those things. I would love to learn it, but man, I just, even the expense on tires, I can imagine. I mean, like when you're literally, for every run, when you go through it, like say when you're, obviously you're doing your runs, how many times you got to change tires in the course of a whole event? Probably every run.
I'll put it this way. I have 16 wheels for the rear of my car. So 4 full sets of just rears, and they always have sticker tires on them. And you get 2 runs. I would get 2 runs out of fresh tires with stickers. 2 runs. So a lead and a follow, and then change tires. And they would be pretty much bald. Yeah, every run. Yep. Every single run, pretty much bald.
Crazy. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the name of the game, though. I mean, that's drifting. That's why it's so much fun too. So
it is. Yeah, we would go through, 20 tires a weekend.
I could see that.
Yeah. Unreal. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the fun part, I know a couple people that I know also drifts as well, but I can imagine that's how you probably got into it. It's kind of like you said before, started on the streets and then got in trouble, and then it's like, you know what? I'm pretty decent at this. I haven't hit anything yet. Maybe I should take a new path.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'd been racing for so long, and I wanted to do something more with it, and my pops was like, well, why don't we, go to some more like events on the track? And I was like, that's a smart idea. Why don't we do that? And I started winning and placing in smaller events. And I was like, well, why don't we, compete in Pro-Am? And so the first year in Pro-Am, I took 4th, only because we blew out a diff and I didn't have a spare one. And I would have had my pro license the first year I competed. which would have been super rad. But then I got it the next year, so is what it is. Works out, you know.
Hey, everything works out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, so like that's to the racing. So, where did that parlay come from, like that jump to where all of a sudden, all right, you know, racing and everything's going well, kicking ass, taking names, having fun, having a blast doing it, to where's that jump then come into doing, you know, the crazy? Because you've been in some movies too. I mean, remember
Yeah.
what's some of them, like, I think you were in Terminator, the most recent one,
Yeah,
right?
that's the one that I just saw the other day for the first time, and that was a cool phone call. I got a phone call to work on Fast and Furious this year, and I was so upset because it fell through right at the end. Like within like 3 days, I was supposed to leave for it, and I was so upset because that's like, I mean, I grew up on Fast and Furious, you know.
Heck
And
yeah, man.
yeah, but I mean, long story short, getting into stunts was like, I basically kind of got fucked over in my second season of Pro 2 in Formula Drift, and I was like, well, I spent all my life literally racing or driving something, and I was like, you know, I have zero clue what I'm going to do with my life, you know, and I had known a few people in the stunt world just from, you know, drifting and being in that community, and someone was like, well, why don't you use the pro advantage or the pro license to your advantage and get into stunts? And I was like, okay, and you know, and that's the route I pursued, and you know, knock on wood, it's been great. You know, the first year was a struggle. The second year was, you know, halfway through the year was a struggle, and then basically went through a big breakup, and after that turned around for me and took off on stunts, which was unbelievable.
Also, because I think even we Big Wit right here, he obviously, like, you've done NCIS. How many episodes with NCIS did you know?
I think at least 4 separate ones that I can think of. NCIS LA is four separate episodes, and the original NCIS I've only done 1 episode on that one, and those are always fun too, because I mean, last time on NCIS LA, I believe I got to drive the Ferrari on that one, which was a blast, and then I always get shot as well. It's always a fun one coming in. Put a little squib on you, and you get shot and get some.
So how's that work? Like when you get shot? I mean, like I've seen a couple of the things on TV, and it's a little like, what's in that packet? And so they pop it with remote, I figure, right?
Yes, it's a little packet. It has like a baby explosive, and it faces out and has, you know, some blood. It has a wire basically that runs down your leg, and they kind of like put a controller in. Ketchup. And so say like when you're about to take your reaction, because you have to give the reaction. So like, you know, you move your shoulders depending on where you're getting shot or headshot or whatever, and then they time it with the effects people, and they blow it, and you see the blood come out. It's not always perfect. Some shit happens, you know, as usual, and but that's how that's done. And then getting shot in the face, sometimes they put a micro explosive, but I remember one time the FX guy comes up with a long tube like this, and it's basically for blow darts, but he put a like wax bullet inside of it with some blood on it, and he basically blew it at my face, and it hit me in the head.
Wow.
And that's how I took that one, and it looks like I got straight shot in the face.
That's crazy. I mean, then it's movies. I mean, that's one thing I learned too, is even though somebody else looking at it, you might see it totally different, and all that matters is what you see through that little square, and that's all that matters.
It's crazy. When I first got on set, I had zero clue, obviously, what I was doing, and then it's just crazy to see like what really like goes into a production. You know, like blows me away to see all the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, the editing afterwards, and how many times would you say? I mean, you know, when you got to do your stunts, I mean, I'm sure commercials and stuff for the cars are pretty. Yeah, that's probably a little bit easier because you just got to roll the car through. You know, they get the shots and so on. But like for a movie, I mean, how many takes are you usually doing before you?
Dude,
you know,
usually commercials are the worst, believe it or not, because they want that one specific shot, and they'll have to do it like 40 times. I remember doing a commercial, and I hit the same mark every single time, but they didn't like where their camera was, and they changed like inches at a time to get the right shot that they wanted. And it was like 40 takes later, and I was like, oh man, that's insane. And then TV shows usually, man, are like, I'll do a stunt on a TV show, and it's like one take and done. It's usually the commercials that you do all the different takes. It's more commercials that are so many more takes.
I guess I can see that. I mean, they can probably be picky because they're going to, different from a movie. They want something that's the perfect shot, the perfect advertisement, the perfect. I guess I can see that. I guess I can see that.
Those beauty shots is what they want. Beauty shots.
The beauty shots.
Yeah.
I worked with a couple of photographers for watches too. Trust me. I'm like, man, all right. It's the middle of summertime. I'm by the beach. I got a sunburn. I got my farmer's tan's completely bad. I got raccoon eyes from my sunglasses. I got everything's going crazy. But we got to get the shot. We got to get the shot. So it's kind of tying everything together, obviously. So. With what we do, I mean, you're the ideal too, same geared hardware customer, you do awesome shit, and you drive cars. I mean, even to that point, what do you say as far as you've driven a lot of stuff, I can imagine, from race cars to movie cars to everything else. I mean, what would you say is probably the coolest thing you ever drove in your opinion?
Coolest thing I've ever driven. It's hard to say. The most memorable one was I drove what an MCAT is?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the huge police tanks. I drove one of those on set, and I was like, I walked up. I remember getting the phone call. They're like, hey, can you drive an MCAT? And I was thinking, oh, it's one of the smaller ones. I was like, yeah. I've never driven one, but yeah, it'll be fine. And I walked up to it, and I was like, dude, this thing is huge. I looked like an ant next to it. And I'll never forget the first time I got in it to drive it, and they're like, all right, go over there and like drive a circle and like get the feel for it. And I went to go turn it, and I couldn't make the turn, so I had to back up and then try again, and until I could finally make a full circle to figure the whole thing out. And I was like,
probably like, man, what is this guy, a rookie? What do we got over here? Got a pro driver come in, can't even make a turn here.
And then they were like, all right, we need you to drive it right up to Jessica Alba and stop next to her. And I was like, okay. I was like, this should be interesting. And I'm coming in like 40 miles an hour in this 17,000-pound tank. And I got to land it right next to her. And I was like, holy shit. That was a crazy one. I'd say that was probably one of the coolest things I remember driving. Other than that, I mean, the sports cars, I've driven like the R32, which is one of my favorite cars, the Supra. In Japan, I got to drive both of those, so that was cool getting to drive them.
You do a right-hand drive?
Yeah.
Man, I've done it one time, and it's just you wouldn't think it's just backward, but like I don't know, this is the whole.
It's so weird. I had to compete in a right-hand drive car, and I only had 3 hours of practice to do it, and I was like, whew, that was wild. The first time I threw that into a corner at 70 miles an hour next to a K-wall. Sideways and on the other side of the car, I was like, this is what a trip that was.
Well then too, because probably even your perspective, because you're used to sitting on the left side of the car, and your viewpoint's going to be towards this way. Now, as opposed to now, you switch sides, and your viewpoint's going to be the opposite. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Dude, it was really weird. What about you? What have you driven that was like? Dude, that was a blast.
I mean, I've driven, and had some pretty cool stuff. Probably, I had a 2001 Viper RT10, and the reason why I say that is because most like modern day cars, you have so much, traction control and different nanny type of things, governors and everything else. That car did not have ABS. It basically had power steering. It had AC, but it didn't really have AC. I mean, you're talking basically 500 horsepower and I think 510 foot-pounds of torque. And that was straight. I did a couple modifications to it before I ended up getting rid of it. But from like just a pure driving like connection, when you can feel the car, there's everything. I mean, every little twitch to the wheel, every single thing that you do, you know, it would really just relay into the car. It's not like today where, you know, there's delays with everything, electronic assisted power steering, you know, power brakes, like, you know, all these things, you don't really get that feel for it. And whereas like that car was, you know, probably like the equivalent of like riding a motorcycle, every little touch, every little piece of input, you know, that was probably it. Then again, my favorite thing, probably of all the cars I've had that I wish I kept, I had a like a 2010 SRT8 Challenger, and it was one of those things, you know. I mean, you know how it goes. You buy a car and you're like, oh man, dude, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. And it was when the SRTs were just kind of getting popular, and I was like, oh man, you know what? Well, what had happened was actually a few weekends prior to, I raced a guy in an SRT4. I was like, oh man, this shouldn't be anything. He's got an exhaust on it, no big deal. Yeah, it was a big deal. Just gapped me by buses. I was like, okay. Headers and an intake and everything else. You know, 410s out back, just not really getting it done. So I was like, all right. At that point, actually, I lived in Texas, and Hennessy Motorsports was about 45 minutes away. I had a connection there, and you know, ended up I bought a whole Pro Charger system, installed that in a weekend. I think my power output went from probably about 460 to somewhere mid 600s, and I don't know, I just loved that car. That was like, I still think about it where I'm like, man, I've had some cool stuff. I've driven some cool stuff, but that is like that one that just is, I wish I could have it back. And then I bought a Chrysler 300C and did similar. Same thing, board, stroked it out. So it was a 426, just totally built out, and put the Magna charger on that one. So it was around about 6 pounds of boost. It wasn't as crazy. But so when you got a 4-door sedan that, you know, is putting down 500 plus horsepower, it was fun. It wasn't the same thing. I would say though, probably overall, like the best overall like memorable experience though is probably Viper. Yeah, probably Viper.
I remember when those things came out; those were wild.
And that's exactly how it was, because that was the final year before they started it was like government mandate where you had to have, you know, you had to have ABS, you had to have power brakes, you had to have all these things. I'm pretty sure it didn't even have airbags, to be completely honest.
Probably not, because race car, you know?
No, it was basically a legal race car that I bought off Craigslist because some guy wanted to ditch it, and I'm like, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I'll take that. Like,
those things are bad to the bone, dude.
It was so much fun. It was the connection part to the car, and like that's the hard thing. Now, the other side of it was obviously like living in Florida, having a car that really doesn't have AC. The windows really aren't very big.
Oh, I do it.
And what is it? Carol Baskin killed. Hold on here. I need to catch some of these comments here.
Funny story. So Johnny, he's my best friend, and we play Warzone together, right? So he changed his name on Xbox to Joe Exotic, and I changed mine to Carol Baskin, and so we run around on Warzone together, and it's just way too funny because you can hear people when you kill them, and they'll be like, Carol Baskin just killed me.
Carol Baskin's
and I'm it's so funny. People that haven't watched that show yet have really got to get on it.
I that was the thing, and like I saw the memes on the internet, and I'm like, I'm not getting into this. I got better things to do with my time. Yeah, I watched it in one night.
Have you seen the 8th episode that just came out as well?
I haven't seen that one. If that's probably going to be tonight or tomorrow.
It's so basically it's Joe McHale, and he goes and interviews pretty much everybody 6 months afterwards, and it answers a lot of questions. So if you're super into it and you want to know more, it's a good one to watch.
Fair enough. It's the perfect combination of everything.
And dude, I can't believe how wild that. I was like, wow, I can't wait to see what the show's about. And then halfway through, I was like, I can't even believe that this is a real thing. This actually happened.
First episode, and I'm like, I'm not really. I don't see what's so interesting, but I'll give it a chance. I'll try anything twice. I'm like, all right. 3 episodes in, I'm like, all right. It's 11. Well, I can finish this by 5 a.m. We'll be all right.
I can finish this by 5 a.m.
Like, we finish it by 5. We'll be all right. You know, we'll be all right.
Has your schedule changed at all during all this?
What is it?
Has your sleep schedule changed during all this?
Oh man, yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, quarantine lifestyle is, you know, with everything, trying to get everything done for the watches, make sure everything gets out as quick as possible. You know, trying to work with all of our suppliers too, because they're facing the same thing. I mean, like, you know, I got a guy in Texas that I get a lot of the bands from, you know, and a couple people in a lot of different places, and it's kind of like trying to piece all that together. You know, working late at night. It's usually about 1 o'clock by the time I crash, and you know, 6 o'clock in the morning comes up fast. So.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I crash at 1 o'clock, but I don't get up till 9:30.
Yeah, 6 o'clock, 6:30. That comes, you know, it usually comes rolling around pretty quick, and so it need life to go back to normal. That's for sure. Like that's for sure.
So you build all your watches in house, right? Most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Some of the stuff as far as movements and things like that will come pre-assembled, and then you know we just kind of pop everything in. But you know, for the most part, you know, we source from a lot of different places, especially like straps. We try and offer as many different straps as we can to people to have as much variety. And I mean, like, shoot, we got a guy that's in New York we get straps from. There's a guy in Texas we get some of the NATO bands from, and a couple of the leather bands. And at the same time, you know, a lot of the people just, hey, I'm having a hard time getting my supplies. It's everything kind of trickles down and goes backward. Like, well, I'm trying to get these orders out, you know, pack everything up and get it going, but I'm missing a band. All right, well, let me get on the phone and see who I can, you know, get this from. So.
You know, I do so much, unfortunately, especially right now, dude.
And that's the same thing. There's, you know, we have warranties and things like that, so people need things fixed. And I'm like, well, you know, I really actually can't get into the shop right now because actually where I live as well, they had a mandatory curfew, so it really makes things kind of difficult to get out just in general. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you know, we're making it through. We have a very supportive audience and a very supportive crowd. And, you know, people understand life's not normal, so you can't really expect a 2-day turnaround when you really can't leave your house for the most part. So,
hey, I mean, I understand that. It's a weird world right now. I mean, I came home, you know, visit my parents, and it's just, there's nothing, man. There's just literally nothing going on. It's crazy.
It's the first time I've ever think I can experience anything like this. And even, you know, went out and I live in Clearwater and just went out. We have a bridge, obviously, because Clearwater is almost like an island in a sense. There's a bridge that connects it to the mainland, and it's always busy. I mean, there's even some of the pictures like we've had on social media. I literally stopped my bike in the middle of the bridge, took some pictures, had a miniature photo shoot on a bridge in the middle of a city, and there's nobody there. Even a few weeks ago, stopped on a drawbridge. Like, it's just there's nobody out, nobody's anywhere, and it's very eerie. But it also too, if you're on a motorcycle, it's actually kind of cool because there's literally no one on the road. So
yeah, you can fly.
I mean, you know,
for the most part,
you know, it's speed limits.
Yeah.
But so I kind of bring everything full circle. Obviously, like, you know, you have some of our watches, you like our watches. So, I mean, in most situations, I know a couple times you texted me pictures, you know, got some geared hardware watches in a movie. But, you know, as far as everything else, like, dude, you're a active lifestyle. I mean, shoot, I think you've taken our watches pretty much through just about everything, yeah?
Yeah, I take Gearwell guys' watches pretty much everywhere. I try to sneak them on under my, I guess you'd call it a costume, basically. And that's how I got it in the one movie. They pretty much pan down to me lying dead, and there's your watch, just with blood, blood on it.
Free advertisements, man. I love it.
You know, and I get so many compliments on, wearing your guys' watches pretty much everywhere. always people want to stop and ask and talk about where I got the watch and how I like it and can I try it on, and yeah, it's for I mean, they're such a great watch. I always wear them to the gym. Well, I mean, there's no gym now, but you know, everywhere I go, I wear it. I love your guys' watches personally. I think they're great.
Well, we got. I'm gonna actually have to send you some pictures too. We got another one that's gonna come out here, hopefully shortly, as long as we can line everything up. And its nickname is gonna be the McQueen. So
Queen.
I kind of figured, that probably resonate pretty well. So excited. Yeah, we got a couple other things coming out too. So this whole thing kind of threw a wrench in our works a little bit, nonetheless. But hey, so goes life. So goes life. Make it through it and get through it.
How like the new smaller one you guys came out with is the 43 millimeter, I believe.
Yeah, this is so actually that's this guy that I got on right here. It's the code name Panther. And I'm actually trying out this band that I got to, testing it out, and I kind of dig it. It's an olive leather, and I think this is probably something that we'll start offering here because I like to test everything out before we put it out to the customers. Obviously, you don't want to. If I'm not going to use it myself, I figure that the people that are going to buy our products wouldn't use it either. Or if it fails on me, it's going to fail on somebody else. And so, I got to test everything before it goes out. But yeah, that's our new guy. That's the Panther. Real simple, it's real clean. There's no digital, so everything is all analog. It's clean. Okay. And the hands themselves, now they probably won't show up on camera, but they're actually luminescent. It's trying to feel awkward kind of doing this.
Yeah. I really liked that one. I wanted to order one of those, and then I got busy and never got around to it. But I want one of those. I can't wait to see the pictures of the McQueen. That one should be pretty cool.
It definitely is. It's a little different layout than some of the other things we've done, but like my whole thing is I like to just do different, and if I don't like it, I wouldn't make it, because if I don't like it, I wouldn't buy it. And so it's kind of how everything where we've got so far is making stuff that people like, so it's being different, it's being different, and so it's keeping things exciting. And I mean, to that note, I think it's probably about time for another Shotzi's here. And yeah, we got some viewers in. Let's figure out a way to give some stuff away here. I got a watch pulled out from supply. What do we got? I got a watch pulled out from supply here.
That one.
Pretty standard issue. Just there we go. He's already ready to go. That's our Stealth. That's that guy there. So everything black on black, real clean, real simple. And put the silicone dumbbell band on it. I think you might even got one of these guys too. I
think I have like 4 or 5 of your watches. So
that's what I thought. And so yeah, let's see if we figure out something to give some people away here, or give some goods away to the people here. Shoot, I haven't even had a shot yet. I'm already falling on words here.
My glass was basically half tequila, so that's where I'm at with that. I really started to enjoy tequila, ginger ale, and some lime, and that's and some ice, but that's been my quarantine drink.
Yeah, that's my thing. If I stay home, tequila it is for sure. If I go out, tequila is not necessarily a good
thing.
Not necessarily a good thing. If I'm at home and I'm within my 4 walls and I fall asleep on my own couch, perfect.
I try to stick to clear liquor, otherwise I get white girl wasted.
Yeah. It does. It happens like that. It happens.
Yeah, it's bad. It's like I was back in Memphis where I was born, and I was visiting my half brother, and he's a whiskey hunter. So he has like 300 different whiskeys in his house, and he was like pouring me, a little bit at a time of each of them to try them. And by like the end of the night, dude, I was like white girl wasted on the floor, just gone. And he's like got a glass like this, and I was like, I don't know, I can't even do that, dude. You're wild.
Yeah. No, I like my head, in place where it's at, not like swimming around all these other places.
Yeah. Lay down, the room is just spinning.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. But I don't know. I don't even remember how I found this. I want to say I went to a New Year's party one time and somebody had some of this tequila coffee, and I was like, tequila coffee? That sounds like a terrible idea. Let me try that.
Yeah, let me try that.
I'll try anything twice, and now here I am sitting on my desk. But
Try anything twice.
that so goes life. Well, what do we got? How can we give away some goods to the people here? Draw some more people in here. Let's see. I want to give a watch away, but I like to get our numbers up a little bit more.
Yeah, they keep coming in, going out, coming in, going out.
I think what we can do, kind of to put some more people into this, if what we'll do, I'd say let's make a post. I'll put one on my page. You can put one on your page. And so then instead of, I have a bottle of espresso vodka. It's so good. You're right. It is good. It's pretty much the same thing. I think we got
That makes me squeamish.
Coffee liquor. So let's do this. Let's throw a post up here in about 5 minutes or so once we jump off the live here. Anybody who obviously is watching this, you're going to obviously have the first go of participation. So like it. Obviously, you're following both myself and Ryan. And so after that, what we're going to do is let's run it till Sunday. We're going to give one winner on Geared Hardware's page. We're going to send them a watch. And we're going to do the same thing on Ryan's page, and we're going to pick a winner on the same picture. So now, instead of giving away one watch, we'll give away 2 watches. And so that's what we'll do. Obviously, everybody watching here, be on the lookout for the next post from Geared Hardware, and then also Ryan's Instagram, which if you're not following him, now's the perfect time to. So let's we'll jump on that. I'll text you over a picture that we'll make for the post for the giveaway. And send you over just what we'll do for obviously rules. Put it in, tag a friend. We'll pick a winner. Let's say Sunday. Sunday's a chill day. Yeah, I like Sunday. Sunday. Now instead, so everybody who's watched has a chance to win, 2 watches. So, dude, I just want to say thanks again. I know we went a little bit over. I think I told you we talked for probably about 15 minutes. Now it's working on 45. But, dude, you do cool shit. I don't know what else to say. So it's intriguing.
I'm just a guy. I like to hang out and get in trouble and do dumb shit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm in the same club. I just don't get paid for it, unfortunately. All right, brother. Well, right, brother. I'll text you a little bit. I'll shoot you over that picture, and we'll throw them up on the Instagrams. Going to give some people some goods, and then, yeah, dude, I'll holler at you later.
Right. I like it, bro. All right, dude.
All right, my man. See ya. Later.